Hey, welcome. Have you ever looked at a company and just wondered, how do they turn brand new hires into these absolute all-stars and so fast? Well, I can tell you, it's not magic. It's a really well-oiled machine of smart onboarding and even smarter training. Today, we're going to dive into the playbook that makes it all happen, right from day one.
So let's just kick things off with the big question. What is the secret to turning that new person on the team into a total high performer? Is it, I don't know, a fancy welcome basket, a big speech from the CEO? Well, it's actually way more strategic than that, and it starts the second they say yes to the job.
And that's our perfect lead into section one, mastering that first impression. We're talking about the onboarding phase, and believe me, getting this right is one of the most important things you can do. It really sets the stage for, well, everything. So what exactly is onboarding? You might hear it called orientation too. It's basically the formal process of giving new hires all the foundational info they need. But it's so much more than just showing them where the coffee is and handing them a pile of paperwork. It's really about integration. You know, a really great onboarding program has four main goals. First, you've got to make the employee feel genuinely welcome. Second, give them the basic info they need to just function. Third, help them see the bigger picture, understand the whole organization. And fourth, and this one is huge, you have to help them socialize. You've got to help them build the relationships that are going to make them successful. And if you want to see a fantastic example of this in action, just look at how a company like Toyota does it. Sure, day one is the welcome and intros, but look at days 2, 3, and 4. They're not just teaching tasks. They are systematically embedding their core company values: mutual respect, teamwork, continuous improvement. It's a brilliant way to show how onboarding is really a tool for building your culture right from the get-go. Okay, so once your new person is onboarded and they're feeling like part of the team, the focus shifts. It goes from integration to capability. And that brings us to our second section, creating the blueprint for success. Think about it like an architect designing a house. You need a solid plan before you can start building anything. And the definition of training itself, well, it couldn't be simpler. It's all about giving employees, new or current, the skills they need to do their jobs. That's it. Whether they're just learning the basics or they're a veteran learning a new piece of software, the goal is always better performance. So how do you build that blueprint? Well, this right here is the gold standard. It's a framework called ADDIE, and following these 5 steps, analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate, make sure that you're not just training for the sake of it. It ensures you're actually solving a real business problem. But before you even think about designing a single thing, you have to absolutely nail that first step: analyze. And this leads to maybe the most important question any manager can ask when someone's not performing. Is this a problem of skill, or is it a problem of will? And this is just so crucial. You've got to distinguish between can't do and won't do. Can't do means they're missing a skill, and the solution is training. But won't do, that's a motivation issue. And you can train them all day long, it's not going to fix it. You have to figure out what's behind that lack of will. Getting this diagnosis right changes everything. All right, so once you've analyzed the problem and you've designed a great program, it's time to actually get it done. So in our next section, let's crack open the manager's toolkit and see what training in action really looks like. You know, most training doesn't happen in some formal classroom. Nope, it happens right in the middle of the workday. We're talking about all the classic on-the-job methods, like having a senior employee coach a newer one, rotating people through different jobs to give them new experiences, handing out a challenging special assignment, or even setting up formal peer-to-peer training. Now, a much more intensive, structured version of this is what we call an apprenticeship. This is a system that combines that formal classroom learning with hands-on, on-the-job training, and it often goes on for years. It's how we develop seriously skilled professionals, everyone from electricians to software engineers. All right, take a look at this number, 70%. Just let that sink in for a second. What do you think that represents when it comes to learning at work? Because the answer is a total game changer. And here it is. According to the super influential 70-20-10 model, a whopping 70% of our development happens through informal, on-the-job experiences. So what's the takeaway? Well, for managers, it means you should probably spend less time searching for the perfect course and more time creating opportunities for challenging work, real-world practice, and good old-fashioned mentorship. Okay, so how do you make a new skill actually, stick? Well, there's a really powerful 4-step method. First,
You model it. Let people see exactly what good looks like. Second, you let them role play and practice it in a safe space. Third, you give them immediate feedback and reinforcement. And finally, you make sure that transfer happens so they can actually apply it back in their real job.
Now, all of this sounds great, but it brings us to the ultimate million-dollar question. How do you know if any of it is actually working? And that brings us to our last section, the ultimate payoff, measuring what really matters.
Well, you can measure the effective training on 4 different levels. First, there's reaction. Did people like it? The smile sheet. Second is learning. Did they actually absorb the material? You can test for that. Third, and we're getting warmer, is behavior. Are they actually using their new skills back at their desk? And finally, the holy grail, results. Did this training actually move the needle on a real business goal, like sales or quality or customer satisfaction?
So, as we've seen, great training is never a one-time thing. It's a continuous cycle of getting better and better. It's what turns good employees into great ones and what makes great companies practically unstoppable. So that really only leaves one question for you. What does your team need to learn next?